Thank you. I am so pleased to be here with all of you, and I'm so pleased that Joe Biden is back in Michigan. Now, we all know this. This is the most important election in our lifetimes, and that's true for many reasons. But one of the most important, compelling reasons is the fact that health care of millions of people is on this ballot. And this is a personal issue. It's personal for so many families. It's personal for me. 18 years ago, I became a member of the sandwich generation. And that simply means I was sandwiched between two members of my own family for whom I was the primary caregiver. My mother at the end of her life and my daughter at the beginning of hers. While my mom battled brain cancer, I was on the phone fighting her insurance company, who was wrongfully denying covering her chemotherapy. There are so many Americans that have a similar story, that have gone through this or are going through it right now. The brain cancer that killed my mom was the same kind that took VP Biden's son, Beau. That period of my life was devastating. It was hard, and it changed me. And that's precisely why I've worked across the aisle to deliver health care for Michiganders, to ensure that we expanded Medicaid, and now 800,000 people in this state have health care because I was able to work across the aisle. But it took working across the aisle to get it done. We had a Republican governor, and I was the Senate Democratic leader. And we left our partisan corners and found common ground because it was about the health of the people of this state. I know that Joe Biden has done and will continue to do the same as our next president. I know that Joe Biden shows up and has our back when we need him. He worked with President Obama. He worked to expand health care to millions of Americans. He was here during the auto industry rescue. Michigan supports Joe Biden because Joe Biden supports Michigan. Now, the Joe Biden we all know and love is the Joe Biden who rolls up his sleeves and works to get things done and works with anyone he needs to in order to deliver. He's made lifelong friends on both sides of the aisle because he's a good, decent human being who cares about Americans, all Americans. He's a fighter who will protect and expand health care, good paying jobs, jobs that people can support a family on. And he will ensure that every American, no matter who they are or where they come from, has a fair shot. Joe Biden knows how to build bridges. He'll bring us together and make health care more available for more Americans. We know that President Trump isn't focused on finding common ground. He's been running a scorched earth agenda for years. And not only does he want to take away health care, but he's in court right now trying to dismantle the ACA that has been a lifeline for so many Americans. Instead of bringing the heat down, he ratchets it up with incendiary rhetoric. Instead of building bridges, he focuses on building walls. He always has been. And in this upcoming election, our choice couldn't be more clear. While Joe Biden works to expand health care in the midst of a global pandemic that's killed more than 218,000 Americans, nearly 7,000 of whom are Michiganders, the Trump administration keeps working to fight to take that health care away. Instead of keeping people safe and delivering on federal relief, they deny science. They contradict their own guidelines. They mock people who wear masks. They've even endangered their own supporters. Not only is the Trump virus response threatening our lives and our economy, but the Trump administration continues on their quest that would deny coverage to people with pre-existing conditions, over 4 million of whom are Michiganders. And now COVID-19 that has ravaged our country is a pre-existing condition too. Nearly 8 million Americans have been diagnosed with COVID-19. And if the Affordable Care Act is struck down, those who have been diagnosed are at risk of losing their coverage too. So the difference couldn't be more clear. And that's why I'm optimistic. Because with our historic leadership in the world right now, our phenomenal capacity for cutting-edge research, science, industry, innovation, and manufacturing, America could have and should have led with an informed and unified COVID response that would have saved lives, mitigated the economic fallout, and made us a global leader, the envy of the world. But the sad truth is the Trump administration never had a plan to protect Americans. They squandered our might and our capacity by making this public health crisis, a political football. It did not have to be this way. Tens of thousands of American deaths could have been avoided had the president treated COVID-19 like the crisis he knew it to be from the beginning. More than 60 million people have filed for unemployment in the United States. 218,000 deaths, lines of people at food pantries. Americans banned from traveling to other countries. And the COVID numbers keep going up. It is still getting worse. So to the Americans everywhere who've been devastated by this pandemic, there is good news. There's an incredibly decent man who is running for President of the United States, who is fighting for you and your family. To the moms who are at home, working, trying to get their kids logged onto Zoom, getting the laundry done, taking care of the family. Joe Biden works for you. To the small business owners who've spent a lifetime building something great and are hanging on by their fingernails, Joe Biden works for you. To the grandparents who haven't been able to see, much less hug their grandkids, Joe Biden works for you. And to the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've lost a loved one, Joe Biden's working for you too. Ask yourself this: which candidate can get COVID-19 crisis under control? Which man is going to get us back to work? Who could bring us together as a nation? You know, in most years, in presidential elections, there are two decent choices. This year, there is one: Joe Biden. We must all vote like our lives and our livelihoods and the soul of our nation depends on it, because they do. And with that, I want to introduce you to my friend,